Welcome to video number 10. In this video, we want to replace our old VLOOKUP formula with a cool trick using pivot table. And this trick is based on the data model feature. However, you don't need to activate or use the PowerPivot editor to do this. So in this video also we're going to see the following: how pivot table can auto-detect relations between tables, and also how we can select from multiple tables different fields, and how we can create measures or formulas inside the pivot tables, and also how we can attach formatting to the formula itself. So whenever we use the same formula, we can find the formatting attached to this formula, and how we can use the same measure or formula inside many pivot tables. And finally, we are going to have a look inside the Power Query editor to see what we created inside the data model. So let's go directly and start with something that already created by the normal VLOOKUP. So we have some tables here. We have the product ID, product name, product category, and price, or you can call it product mapping file. This is for a bicycle shop called AAA Bicycle Shop. And also you have the sales information. This is only 25 products, and you have the sales information. It's like 70,000 lines of daily sales information. Contains the product ID and the date, quantity, and the discount. There is no sales value and also no product name or product category name inside this table. So we want to mash this data up and create one sales report. So we come here, our original technique for VLOOKUP. We come here, we just prepare a helper table, contains the date, which is referenced from the original data, and then you just do some VLOOKUPs to get the product name, category, and price, and all of this lookups to or match to the mapping table or product mapping table. And finally, when you get this all together, you calculate the sales, and then you create your pivot table. And each time you want to add more data, you have to append your data down here, down here, and then you copy the formula along down as well, and then update your data source in the pivot table so you can see your updated or refreshed report. So let's start our cool trick here in this workbook. It contains the same data but without any calculation, just our raw data. We have the mapping tables and the 2 years of sales transactions. So first step, I'm going to convert these ranges to tables. I will select any cell inside the range, Control T, confirming the range, and my table has headers. Okay, I have to go to design and design ribbon and give name to the table. I'll call it M for mapping, then product. I'll do the same for 2016 sales table. Control T from inside any cell inside the table. My table has headers and confirming the range. Okay, design, give name. I'll give it T for transaction and sales. From here I can directly start to build my report. From the design ribbon I can see summarize with pivot table. Also, if I go to insert, I can find pivot table. Let's select from here, new sheet. This is the source of data. It's the T sales report because we already we selected one cell inside the range of the T sales table. But I want to add this to data model, and by clicking this will start everything now. So I'm going to click OK. It will create a new sheet and create a pivot table inside this sheet. Let's take it to the end, give it a name like report. Same for pivot table, I prefer to give a name, so I'll call it sales report. Enter. I start to build my report directly. I have here the field list, but look here, I have two tabs, one for active because I started with the T sales, so I have here the T sales table and its fields, and this is not normally what I see in the normal pivot table field list window. However, this is because it's based on the data model. So let's look at all. Also, there's a tab for all, so you can see here the two tables together, and this is exactly what I want. I want to go to the M product and select category, and then select product. Now we have the category and then the products for every category. And then I go again to the T sales, and I don't have actually sales, but I can start. Let's start with the quantity. So I'll drag it to the value area and see what will happen. So what will happen is not exactly what I want, because this number is the total of everything. This is the total. If you look here, this is the grand total and repeated everywhere in all the rows, and not exactly what I want. So however, if you look at the field list, you can see this yellow message coming: relationships between tables may be needed, and this is exactly what we want. We want to create relation, so we can do it either manually or to ask Excel to detect. But if we are going to check this, we need to make sure that the headers of the two tables are identical, meaning that here product ID spelled 100% like product ID here, which is the case, no problem. And also there is some matches between the tables, and also the lookup tables need to be a unique list of values. However, let's create it together. I think if I select auto detect, it will detect it, but let's create it manually together. So let's start with the first table. Start with the T sales. Foreign key is product ID, and then let's start with the second table, the M product, and it detects automatically that this is the primary key. If you click OK, the relation is created, and now you can see everything is correct inside this table. But now we need to calculate the sales. So this is not a big problem with the data model. So just highlight on the T sales table and right click and click on add measure, and then you can give a name to your measure. So this should be the sales, and some description. I'll call it sales amount after discount. So I start here. I need some formula to iterate in all rows inside the T sales table and bring from the other table, the M product table, the price, and then merge both together and calculate the revenue or the sales for each line. So there's a function called SUMX, like the sum that we usually use, but with X at the end. So, but this function is not an Excel function. It's not normal Excel function. It's DAX function. Look here. Check DAX Formulas. So this is the DAX formula, and DAX is working with the Excel data model, and it stands for data analysis expressions. So this is not a very big deal, because you can see the help here. It will give you the parameters that you want. So SUMX wants to start with a table. So for sure I'll give the T sales table, because I want SUMX to iterate on each line of the T sales table and use the information to calculate the revenue. And then an expression. So the expression is a formula. So I'll give the formula that calculates the revenue, which is basically the quantity. So the quantity lies in the same table, T sales. Once I typed T and S, it will give you all the options. So I will take the sales quantity. Excellent. And I want to multiply this by 1 minus discount. So I will open bracket 1 minus. So I need to take the discount. I will type DIS, and you can see here T sales discount. I'll select it from here, double click, and then I'm going to close the bracket for 1 minus, and then another multiply, and I need to bring the prices from the M product table. However, to do that, I need something to help me, something that tells this SUMX that please bring only the related values from the other table, the related values for each row. So I'm going to write a small function called related tab. So related need just to go to the other table, which is M product, the only other table I have in this model, and bring the price. Double click on price, because related takes only one argument. Then close the parentheses and another close bracket for the SUMX itself. Check DAX formula. It's working. There is no errors. So we are ready to go. But before going there, we have an option here. This option is very good. So you can give number formatting attached to the formula itself. So in this case, I will select currency, and this is the symbol for currency, and there is no decimal places, and click OK. If you open here the T sales table, you'll find a new field called sales, but started with FX. FX means that this is formula or measure, and you cannot drop this anywhere but only in the values. And look at this, the formatting already done. This one with no formatting because it's not a measure that it's not an explicit measure, so it comes without formatting. But let's do some formatting here, number formatting. Here we go. And not only this, we can also do some more, you can say, complicated calculation inside this using these DAX formulas. So I have the quantity and I have the sales. I can divide the sales by the quantity and get the average price per everything if I want. I'll go again to T sales, right click, add measure, and I'll give it a name. Let's call it effective price. And description, it gives the average price after discount. And then we already have the sales. So if you write TS, you'll find that your table now, and your table has a new calculation sales. Just double click and then over or divide, and then write again T sales, and you can see here is the implicit function, which is the T sales sum of quantity. Double click this and go down. Before going down, check the formula. Your formula is fine. Go to number formatting, select decimal numbers, thousand separator, and we can use only one decimal place, and click OK. And go down here, you have your new measure. Just drop it down and you can see the effective price for everything, and it's working perfectly. And if you change anything in this table, you will see your functions, the two functions or two measures that you created is working perfectly with the filtration coming from the pivot table itself. And look at this, if I'm here outside the pivot table and I go to insert and then pivot table, you can just create a pivot table using the workbook data model. And if you click OK here, it will create a new table. Let's call it monthly sales. Okay, now we are from M product, no, from T sales we are going to select dates down to the rows. Right click here, group, let's select month and year. Okay, perfect. Take the date out. Up here you can take your categories here. So you have your 4 categories, and you can select, look here, your calculation is still here, it's in a new table, however you have it here, so you can use it in any other pivot table without inside the workbook without any need to recalculate again. And when you drop it here, it comes also with all the formatting that we did. Alright, that's perfect. And what about the effective rate? Let's take this out. Let's take the effective price. This is fantastic. It's working in a different dimension. Here is the calculation on the month level. However, here it is on the product level. Let's add the subtotal here. You can see it's working on the category level, in the product level, and also on the month level. And if you add the subtotal here as well, it's working also on the years level. So last thing that we need to do now before closing our video is just to make sure that we take also 2017 numbers in our report. So I'll go to this sheet, I'll just copy all the information just down the headers. I'll not take the headers, I'll go to 2016, and at the first empty row I'll just paste it, and then I'll go to my report, and let's go to data and refresh all, and look what will happen. Yes, you have now 2016 and 2017 in both reports, and all the changes that we made is applied. You have the effective rate for the 2 years, and you have the sales for the 2 years, and I think it's working perfectly. Just the very last thing, in order to understand what happened, we need to open the PowerPivot editor, and you can do it either from PowerPivot ribbon here and you click on manage, or from data you select this icon from data tools. If you don't have this appear in your ribbon, so you need to add the PowerPivot add-in options. So let's click on manage, and this will open the PowerPivot editor, and you will see here our 2 tables are already loaded here. And if you go to the diagram view, you will see your two tables and the relation that created between the two tables appearing here in the yes. You can see the product ID is matching the product ID, and that's why we can work with both tables together. If you go back to data view, you can see here the two measures or formulas that we made, the SUMX and the simple calculation of the effective price. Now we are done with our video. Thank you very much for your time, and see you in the next video, and bye.